And we came up with this, and I do want you to go online and read it, Go Green MB. It's based on our fundamental principles of living within our ecological means, local self-reliance. And what self-reliance means, well, here's the way I describe self-reliance, and I've done it before. When I was a kid, my mother would say, all right, Jack, you can go get a pair of shoes. And she'd say, I'd say, well, where do I go? She'd say, you go to Mr. Kennedy's or Mr. Weasel's. And that's because Mr. Kennedy was behind the cash register at Kennedy's, and Mr. Weasel was behind the cash register here. Across the street we had Mr. Scoville maybe working in Scoville's. And across the street we saw Manchester, Robertson, Allison, the largest department store east of Montreal, operated by none other than the Manchesters and the Robertsons and the Allisons, those family businesses that operated. And so we did have a self-reliant community. We did depend on each other. Mr. Fenwick made his cheese. We had famous milk. We even had our own pop, Sussex Golden Ginger Ale. I mean, I can still sing the song. I mean, it was part of us. And somehow, over time, due to efficiencies and reasons and whatever, those family businesses have fundamentally all gone. And they haven't really been replaced with family businesses. So part of our vision is to get back to that community self-reliance, where we learn to make things again, where we learn to meet our own needs again. And I'm not talking about pioneering. I'm just simply saying that we develop that culture of self-reliance. The third quick one is social justice and equity, participatory democracy, self-determination, citizenship, and nonviolence. Out of them, we created 7 themes that we built our vision on, including reforming our media, reforming our forests, practices, our choices in how we deal with social programs, developing culture, fiscal responsibility, getting back to that fundamental basis, and everything is designed with the future in mind. Now, again, I'm not even a year old as a leader. That doesn't come up until, I think, September the 28th. But I want to tell you something. We have assembled one of the most amazing political teams in the history of this province. We have former Deputy Minister Paul Le Breton as our candidate in Dieppe. We have Jim Wolstenholme, the former Assistant Deputy Minister of Health, as one of our candidates in Fredericton. Patty Higgins, of course, the only woman elected to council in St. John. We have elected councillors Margaret Tuss-King in Sackville, Vernon Woolsey. We have professors, teachers, students, farmers, business people. We have it is the most gender-balanced team in the history of this country by any political standard. 46% of our candidates are women. That has never been accomplished by any political party anywhere. And it speaks to the message. It speaks to the message of change. Our message is not based on pointing out the errors of the Liberal government or pointing out the flaws and the weaknesses in Mr. Allwards. Occasionally we have to, pop some balloons. I mean, for example, and I only do this, it's not against Mr. Graham, but he promised that we're going to balance the budget by creating 20,000 jobs. But if we just do middle school math, if all the jobs he created were $60,000 a year jobs, and let's just assume all of those jobs didn't cost us 5 cents, and none of the people occupying those jobs cost us anything in any way, shape, or form, didn't use services or anything, they would put $10,000 into the provincial coffers. They'd pay about $20,000, 10 for the feds, 10 for the province. If you divide that $10,000 into $800 million deficit, we need 80,000 jobs to balance the budget. That's just simple. It's just straightforward.